All right, well, let's go ahead and get rolling. Thanks. People are still filing in here, so thanks so much, guys, for taking time out of your busy day. Appreciate you coming for our side-by-side gateway breakdown. Again, my name is Ryan Dosen, Director of Sales. We're here with Chris Clements is here as well, our VP of Sales. We're going to be here to give you guys some good information today. If you guys have questions, remember, please put them in the chat. And Chris may be able to help with some of the answers. We'll have a little bit of time for Q&A at the end. But again, just a quick reminder, here at Host, your success as an agent, that's our number one priority. We're committed to continuing to deliver you guys as much value as we possibly can so that you guys can board as much business as possible. You've come to expect 24/7 technical support. Your personal relationship managers take great care of you. We get you streamlined merchant approvals for your clients so they're up and running fast and so that you can focus on, building your portfolio. Fairly unmatched selection of payment technologies available to you here as agents with Host. We're going to focus on some of the gateway technologies today, but there's a ton of hardware options out there for you too. Valor, Deja Vu, Clover, and Genico, just to name a few. We pride ourselves on giving you guys more tools than just about anyone can offer you out there. And so again, your success is our number one priority. Appreciate you hopping in today. Goal is to just continue delivering a ton of value and giving you lots of reasons to really maximize your partnership here with us. So let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, and let's get rolling. All right, so again, you all know today's side-by-side comparison of today's top payment gateways. We're going to cover a lot of the features that come up in the field quite a bit for you all. There's going to be some features. Of course, we're not able to get to all of them today. And that's part of the reason why you guys have your relationship managers, right? If you ever have a question about, hey, my merchant needs this particular thing, what are my best options? You've got us to lean on, you've got us to reach out to, and we can give you the best advice possible. So you're going to get a lot of good info today, and we're going to continue to be able to provide that to you via your relationship managers. Again, purpose, we want to take a look at the differences in offerings from the top gateways with the goal of getting you the info you need to board more merchants and to put them on the right tech solutions. So first things first, what's a payment gateway? I think most of you know this, but again, it's technology that's used to facilitate payment processing. In the case of online transactions, businesses, use a payment gateway in order to accept debit, credit card payments from online shoppers, and we know that. How a payment gateway works, again, I think most of us, know most of this, but again, the customer is going to input the payment info into the gateway. E-commerce site's going to send the payment out. The gateway forwards the request to the credit card company. Credit card company verifies credit availability, authorizes the payment. Gateway sends sends funds to the seller eventually. Okay. So we got a bunch of gateways here. You guys have access to a bunch of different gateways. These are just a few of them. You guys have access to our proprietary HMS Pay. You've got Valor, NMI, iPOS Pays, even some of our cloud products. And so let's go ahead and hop in here and let's take a look at some of them and what they can do for you and your merchants. Some of you were on our recent webinar about ACH, and this chart may look familiar to you all. Not all gateways are going to support ACH, but several do. Just to go back, through some of those options here, including some of the prices, with HMS Pay, you're able to do it. There's a setup fee, a relatively low ACH monthly and cost per transaction and batch. NMI also has a setup fee, with a little bit of a higher monthly or ACH monthly, a little bit higher ACH per transaction and batch fee. With our new partnership that we discussed, and again, for those that weren't on the last ACH webinar, we have a new partnership with Paya, which is an ACH provider. It integrates and plays nicely with Deja Vu and iPOS. Um, it's a pretty good solution. It's $10. The cost is $10 a month, 15 cents per transaction, 15 cents per ACH batch. Again, this is not like a comprehensive list and breakdown of everything. There are other ACH options out there for you all and your merchants. For instance, CardPoint and PayTrace do have options. They tend to be expensive. And a lot of times you guys try to avoid those, unless absolutely necessary. Okay. One other thing about ACH that we talked about last time is the ability to mark up, and to get you guys the ability to earn some residuals. Again, so a couple of examples, the new partnership with Paya does allow for ACH markup, as does TXP. With Paya, you've got a 70-30 split on the ACH markup, so ACH, you're going to still have an ability to earn some residuals on there, even though, of course, the merchant's usually trying to go ACH to help lower the payment processing costs, and it does, but you still have the ability to earn some residuals there. So wins all around there. Something that's been a little while since we talked about is level 2, level 3 optimization. So some of you were probably on that previous webinar when we discussed this. A little refresher if you were there, maybe some new info for those of you that weren't able to make that one. So again, level 2, level 3 optimization, it refers to the practice of providing detailed transaction information, that's the level 2, level 3 data, to the payment processors for business to business and business to government transactions. Kind of in return for providing that extra information, it can result in lower interchange fees. It's a less risky transaction for the credit card companies when they get all that additional information. This optimization is particularly relevant for merchants processing commercial, corporate, fleet, or purchasing cards. And these optimizations can wind up resulting in a great deal of savings. On that last webinar, I gave an example of a hotel in California that we were in the process of boarding, and we got the merchant statement, and we realized that they did not have level 2, level 3 optimization going on at the time, and we realized that we were going to be able to save this particular merchant a ton of money, and also make some good money ourselves by being able to provide that level 2, level 3 optimization. We were actually able to charge more basis points, and they were still able to save a ton of money. It was going to be thousands of dollars a year, and during the busy season, probably like $1,000 a month, something like that, just off of the level 2, level 3 optimization, because people that were traveling to this particular hotel, they were all paying with, corporate cards and stuff like that. It was kind of one of those type of destinations where people were using those types of cards. So again, there's a ton of value there, certainly for certain merchants. Really quick overview again of what's level 1, what's level 2, what's level 3. Again, level 1, it's the default for transactions, card data, merchant data, amount, and date. Okay, valid for all card types. Level 2 requires header information, tax details, additional information can be transmitted. Level 2 is valid for business, corporate, and purchasing card types. And then level 3 requires full invoice data, header, and line items. Level 3 is valid only for corporate and purchasing cards. All right, so the level 2, level 3, again, we're providing additional data to the card companies, and then in return, we're getting a lower interchange rate because it's a less risky transaction. All right, so which gateways are going to support level 2, level 3? All right, so we have HMS Pay. Our gateway does provide level 2, level 3 optimization at no cost. Okay, so that's one of the huge benefits of the HMS Pay gateway, is that it's baked into the cake, and there's no additional cost there. With regard to our CloudManager products, it's not active, but that's, as you all know, that software is in development. It's getting better every day, and that should be coming, but it's not there right now. With NMI, there is a monthly fee for it, and a per transaction fee for it, but again, it can still be very worthwhile in certain cases. With Deja Vu, iPause pays, there's a monthly fee, not a transaction fee, but again, I believe this merchant, this hotel was actually going to use Deja Vu. And so it was like, okay, well, sure, I'll pay $10 a month to be able to save hundreds of dollars a month. Okay. Again, not all technologies are going to support the level 2, level 3 optimization. If you have a question or if you have a doubt about it, again, contact the relationship manager, and just confirm with them, and they'll point you in the right direction. All right. Cash discount versus dual pricing versus surcharging. All right. So a little bit on this. These terms are kind of thrown around interchangeably. Generally speaking, it's all about the merchant managing their credit card processing fees, right? Passing off in some way, a little bit of semantics in how it's done, but basically passing off the credit card processing fees, to their clients, having their clients pay those processing fees. Okay. And again, sometimes, in the industry or talking with people, someone might say cash discount where it's really technically dual pricing, or dual pricing and it's technically surcharging is happening. But just wanted to walk through a little bit with you all just to kind of get terminology straight, in terms of kind of what is what. So with cash discount, businesses are essentially advertising a standard price, where they're going to be responsible for credit card processing fees, right? And then there can be a discount that's applied, at checkout for customers that are paying with cash or a cash equivalent. Okay, so basically there's a price, the price is the price, and oh, by the way, we'll sell it to you for less. You're going to pay less if you pay with cash. Dual pricing involves a situation where you have, two distinct prices that are presented up front, one with card and one with cash. Okay, so and then for surcharging, the business is adding a separate fee, a surcharge to transactions when the customer pays with a credit card. The fee aims again to offset the credit card processing fees that would be, incurred by the business. Okay. And again, at the end of the day, it's all pretty much accomplishing, a fairly similar thing where the customer is going to be on the hook. And again, some little mental gymnastics or semantics around how that's being presented. Some people feel like the cash discount, a true cash discount, which we'll show in a second, it feels like a value add that's being given to the customer reward, whereas sometimes surcharging or dual pricing can feel like, they're getting penalized for not paying with cash. Different merchants are going to feel different ways about the approach. But again, just to get terminology straight, this is technically, when we're using these terms, what we're saying and what we're talking about. All right, and just to give you a little bit of an idea about what this looks like in practice, again, we talked about the true discount or the true cash discount program that's available, with iPause, pays, what is it? We just described what it is. And then how it winds up working is, they wind up paying that lesser amount if they pay with cash, and actually shows on the receipt, hey, you saved this amount of money, or you could have saved this amount of money if you had paid with cash. Dual pricing, again, we've got the different pricing put right in front of the client, right? So you've got a card situation where they're paying, where they're going to be paying more, and an EBT or a cash situation where they're going to be paying less, but both prices are being displayed. And then for surcharging, what does this look like in kind of that virtual terminal environment? This is where you're going to turn the surcharging on, in this case, they're adding a 2% surcharge. And the clients, and that's just going to get tacked on. $100 is going to pay $102. All right, so I'm not going to get in here and break down what is technically cash discount and what is technically dual pricing and what is technically surcharging and all that for every single thing. But just wanted to give a brief overview in the dual pricing lane here for right now. So again, for dual pricing and HMS pay, it's there and there's no additional charge for it. I mentioned that the dual pricing, is going to be coming soon for the CloudManager suite. It's not here yet, but it'll be here soon. This is, the dual pricing is available in Fluid Pay and in Swipe Simple, Deja Vu and Valor, and you can see, the prices that are going to have to be paid for or paid for by the merchants here on a monthly basis. All right, hosted payment pages. This is something that we get questions about fairly frequently. Again, some gateways and virtual terminals are going to support it and some aren't. In the case of HMS Pay, it is available, and a hosted payment page costs $5. There are some gateways where you're able to do the hosted payment pages, without a charge. I think Eric sent me a message that one of these there's a little bit of a asterisk around. I think it was around iPause. If you have any specific questions about the hosted payment page and what it's going to cost for your client, of course, again, the default is going to always be just make sure contact your relationship manager. But again, this is going to give you kind of a brief overview of what technologies, where is it even going to be possible? Okay. All right. Other interesting features that some of you may want to know about, we don't have charts for them today, but again, text to pay is something that is asked about quite frequently, but it's not available for all the gateways and virtual terminals out there. QR codes, same thing. Okay, so again, if you have a merchant that needs a certain thing, it's like I had a merchant earlier today that I was talking with Chris about that needed a dedicated payment page. We went in and we took a look and we made sure, okay, these are the specific ones that we can offer. And it looked like overall, HMS Pay was going to be the best for this particular merchant because it did check off all the different boxes. But again, that's what we're here for. You come to us with, hey, I have a merchant that needs boom, 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 and boom. And we're going to be able to get that info for you and point you in the right direction for the right solution. All right. So this one's probably a shorter webinar today. Again, next steps here. If you guys have any questions, contact your RMs. Suggestions. If you guys like this, if you guys want us to do more kind of comparisons or breakdowns, if you guys want us to do like a more granular breakdown of, this particular gateway or virtual terminal versus another one. If you guys are finding that stuff really, really valuable and you and you want us to take a deeper dive on maybe a couple of them as opposed to kind of a broad strokes view, let us know, and we'll be happy to get you guys the information that you need. With regard to the demo requests, that's making reference again. Remember, CloudManager, we talked a lot about CloudManager today. The end of August is coming up. A lot of you have reached out and gotten some merchants boarded here in August. We want to make sure that we're able to get, that guaranteed free for life to your merchants that may be a good fit for CloudManager. One quick thing just in terms of the selling and the presenting of CloudManager that we're seeing kind of on the sales side in these demos that I just wanted to share with you guys is that the concept, like I'm presenting it to you all as, hey, this is going to be free for life. Okay. Free for life doesn't necessarily, like for us, that sounds great and a tremendous value. Sometimes it's being received by people as like, well, what's the catch? And then we have to explain, well, the catch is that, you're going to do your payment processing with us, and, we're going to be getting great feedback from you as to how to make it better, right? But again, if one person asks the question, many people are thinking the question and not asking it and thinking it's suspicious and maybe I shouldn't do this. Okay, so just a general kind of reframing of this. If some of you are having people that are interested, but you're not able to kind of get them across the line, the reframe here is, maybe instead of here's a free technology that we're going to throw at you, free sometimes sounds like it's got a catch or it's low quality. Instead, the spin being this is a complementary value add that's being that our clients are getting access to for a limited time right now, right? So again, we talked a little bit about semantics with the dual pricing and cash discount and all that stuff, but you all know that in sales, sometimes it's not not just what you're saying, it's kind of how you're saying it or how you're presenting it, right? When it's a when it's presented more as a value add for our customer, that we're looking to deliver to them, that sounds better and more interesting and maybe less cheap or something like that, or lower quality than, hey, we got this free thing that we're going to give away to you for life. So anyway, just think a little bit about that. I thought that was an interesting little tidbit I might share with you that's applicable here, but it's applicable in a lot of different walks of life and a bunch of different sales situations. Sometimes if you can reframe it, that can make all the difference in the world. And again, you guys still have that agent incentive. You guys have that bonus for for any new merchants that get boarded here through the end of the month. So let me go ahead and I'm going to stop share. Let me see if we have any things in here. So I've had a couple of questions and Chris answered them. Thanks, Chris. All right. We'll hang out for a couple more seconds. And again, thank you guys so much. Reach out to me. You guys had my contact info there. With regard to the CloudManager suite, again, the best plan there. Reach out to me. Say, hey Ryan, can we schedule a demo? Or if you have questions about whether CloudManager, which is that flexible software, whether it might be a fit for somebody, fit for a merchant, just reach out to me and we'll talk about it. And I'll say, yeah, I think this will be a better fit for a Cloud Job, or this will be a better fit for Cloud Studio, and let's get them on the calendar. Okay, so we're here to help you win those deals. All right. Well, everyone, thanks so much for attending today. We'll wrap up now, and good luck this week, and give us some feedback. Do you want more content like this or less content like this? But thanks again. You guys have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you soon.